Your story has power, but power without discipline becomes weakness. We live in a world that constantly pushes you to explain yourself, justify your choices, and share every struggle. It takes real strength to stay quiet and stay focused instead. Long before social media and instant attention existed, people built great things in silence. They worked, failed, adjusted, and rose again, without announcing every step. That principle still holds true today. Talking about your plans can feel like progress, but talk doesn't build character. Action does. Sharing every hardship might bring temporary relief, but comfort has never taken anyone to a better life. Growth requires patience, restraint, and the ability to sit alone with your thoughts and keep moving anyway. When you share your story with everyone, you hand over control of how it gets judged, doubted, or misunderstood. Not everyone deserves access to your goals and your direction. Strong people learn early that explanations are usually unnecessary. Approval is not required to move forward. Sympathy is not a replacement for discipline. Real confidence is quiet. It doesn't rush to be seen or heard. It simply works, improves, and waits. The strongest foundations are built where no one is watching. This isn't about secrecy or arrogance, it's about timing, focus, and self-respect. There is a time to listen, a time to work, and a time to speak. Speak too early, and you weaken your own resolve. Work first, and when the time is right, your results will speak with far more authority than your words ever could. Lesson 1. Stop explaining your choices to people who don't share your effort. At some point, you have to decide, are you going to live by your own standards or spend your energy justifying yourself to people who aren't walking your path? Every explanation you give to the wrong audience quietly chips away at your confidence. You start shaping your decisions around what sounds acceptable rather than what feels right. That's not growth. That's negotiating with doubt. When someone isn't putting in the work you're putting in, they will never fully understand your choices. They see the surface, not the sacrifice. They see the change, not the cost. And when you try to explain yourself to them, you're asking for approval from people who haven't paid the price you're paying. That habit will keep you small. Progress doesn't require permission. Strong people move without applause. They make decisions quietly and stand by them firmly, not out of stubbornness, but out of commitment. Explaining yourself too often is a sign that you're still looking for reassurance. But reassurance doesn't build discipline. Discipline is built when you act, even while being misunderstood. Accept this truth early. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Some people question your choices not because they care about you, but because your effort highlights their own inaction. Your discipline makes their comfort feel uncomfortable. So they question, they doubt, they advise, and slowly, if you're not careful, you start defending yourself instead of building yourself. Every minute you spend explaining your direction is a minute you could have spent strengthening it. You don't need to convince anyone that your goals matter. If they matter to you, that's enough. Time will reveal whether your choices were right. Results are far better at answering questions than words ever will be. Learn to say less and stand taller. When someone questions you, respond with calm, not argument. Let your consistency become your answer. When you stay focused long enough, people stop asking why and start noticing how. This doesn't mean ignoring good advice. It means choosing it carefully. Seek guidance from people who have gone further, endured more, and earned real perspective. But don't confuse advice with opinions. Opinions are cheap. Discipline is rare. If you want to grow, you must get comfortable being misunderstood for a while. Let go of the need to be approved and replace it with the need to improve. Your life doesn't need a committee. It needs commitment. So make a simple decision from this point forward. Stop explaining your choices to people who don't share your effort. Put that energy into your work instead. Let your progress answer the questions you no longer feel the need to explain. That's how self-respect is built, quietly, steadily, and without apology. Lesson 2. Be careful who you let hear your plans. Every plan you carry is a living thing in its early stages. It needs protection before it needs praise. Too many people destroy their own momentum by speaking too soon, by letting their unfinished ideas drift into the wrong ears. A plan shared carelessly becomes vulnerable. Not because the plan is weak, but because it hasn't yet grown strong enough to stand on its own. Here's the text, rewritten in simpler, more straightforward language while keeping the same meaning. When you share your plans out loud, you invite opinions. Those opinions often arrive dressed as concern, curiosity, or advice. But behind many of them is fear. Fear that reflects the other person's limitations, not yours. People measure your vision against their own experience. And if they haven't walked far themselves, they can't imagine the distance you're aiming for. That's why sharing too early so often leads to hesitation, not because your plan was wrong, but because doubt was introduced before your idea had a chance to grow strong. Understand this clearly. Staying quiet at the beginning is not secrecy, it's discipline. Builders don't invite crowds into the foundation stage. They work quietly until the structure can hold weight. Your goals deserve the same protection. When you speak before you have any evidence to show, you trade certainty for noise, and noise destroys focus. There's another danger in sharing plans too early: false comfort. Talking about what you're going to do gives your mind a sense of progress, even when nothing has actually happened. You feel heard and supported, but nothing has been built yet. That comfort softens your edge and makes urgency fade. Discipline needs pressure, not applause. Smart people keep their plans close and their circles small. They understand that encouragement from the wrong source can be just as harmful as criticism. Some people cheer loudly at the beginning and disappear when the real work starts. Others doubt openly and slowly weaken your resolve. Neither helps you move forward. This doesn't mean isolating yourself, it means choosing carefully. Share your plans only with people who have shown real strength, patience, and good judgment, people who respect effort more than excitement. One grounded, honest voice is worth more than a room full of opinions. There is real power in letting your work develop before it's seen. When progress becomes visible, everything changes. Doubt fades. Advice turns into respect. Explanations become unnecessary. Results create a clarity that words never can. You must also learn to trust yourself in the quiet moments. When no one knows what you're building, you find out whether your motivation is real. Are you driven by purpose or by the need for praise? Silence answers that question honestly. It removes the performance and leaves only commitment. So protect your plans. Guard them while they're still fragile. Work on them when no one is watching. Let them grow through effort, not conversation. When the time is right, your actions will introduce your vision far more powerfully than your words ever could. Lesson 3. Replace talking about change with daily action. Change doesn't begin with an announcement. It begins with a decision, followed by movement. Too many people declare what they're going to do, how they're going to improve, and who they're about to become. They speak with passion and confidence, then days pass, old routines return, and nothing actually changes. The problem was never a lack of intention. The problem was confusing words with work. Talking about change creates a comfortable illusion. The mind feels satisfied just by expressing desire. You feel productive because you sounded determined. But sounding determined and actually being disciplined are two completely different things. Discipline shows up quietly, without witnesses, without speeches. It shows up when excuses are easier than effort, and action is chosen anyway. Every time you talk instead of act, you delay your own growth. Conversation brings relief. Action brings results. Relief fades quickly. Results stay. If you truly want to change your life, your daily behavior has to look different, not your conversations. Growth is measured by habits, not promises. Action also has a way of clarifying everything. When you move, you discover what works and what doesn't. You learn through doing, not discussing. Talking keeps you in your head. Action brings you into reality. One honest step teaches more than 1,000 conversations about what's possible. There's another hidden cost to talking too much about change. Once you tell people, you start feeling pressure to perform rather than simply improve. You begin worrying about how your progress looks rather than whether it's real. That pressure can make you rush, quit, or pretend. Real growth needs space to be messy. It needs room for mistakes, adjustment, and persistence. Daily action builds something that conversation never can: identity. When you act consistently, you stop wondering who you're becoming. You know, each small action reinforces the belief that you are capable, disciplined, and reliable. Confidence grows from evidence, not encouragement. This doesn't mean you never talk about your goals. It means you talk after you've acted, not before. Let effort come first. Let your routine do the talking. When people notice change without being told, it carries real weight. Silent progress commands genuine respect. The next time you feel the urge to explain your plans or describe your future, pause. Ask yourself one simple question. What can I do today that moves me one step forward? Then do that. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect. Today. Repetition of small actions is how real change takes root. The strongest transformations are often invisible at the beginning. Real change happens in early mornings, quiet evenings, and moments when no one is watching. It's built through consistency, not conversation. So make a commitment to yourself. Talk less about what you're going to do. Act more on what needs to be done. Let your days reflect your intentions. Over time, your actions will tell a story far more powerful than anything you could ever say. Lesson 4. Keep your struggles private until you're strong enough. Struggle is part of the process, but sharing it too early can weaken you. There's a difference between carrying weight and turning that weight into a story. When every difficulty becomes something you talk about, pain loses its purpose. Struggle is meant to shape you, not to entertain others or invite constant sympathy. In hard moments, the urge to talk is natural. You want to be heard and comforted. But comfort, when sought too often, can delay strength. Growth requires resistance. When you rush to share your struggle, you sometimes release the very pressure that was meant to build your endurance. You trade resilience for relief. Not everyone can handle your pain properly. Some will judge you, some will pity you, some will repeat what you trusted them with. Some will quietly begin to see you as fragile. None of that helps you rise. Strength is not built through explanation, it's built through endurance. Facing difficulty without an audience teaches you to regulate your emotions, sharpen your thinking, and stay steady under pressure. These are skills that no amount of encouragement can replace. They are forged in silence. There is also dignity in handling your challenges with restraint. This doesn't mean pretending everything is fine, it means choosing the right time and the right person. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to simply endure. Oversharing creates dependency. Selective sharing builds maturity. Many people unknowingly turn hardship into identity. They talk about their problems so often that struggle becomes who they are, rather than something they're passing through. That habit keeps wounds open. Healing requires focus, not constant repetition of the pain. When you keep your struggles private, something powerful happens. You begin to solve instead of explain. You shift from seeking understanding to seeking solutions. Your energy moves inward, and that's where real change begins. This doesn't mean you never ask for support. It means you wait until you're stable enough to choose wisely. Share with people who can guide you forward, not pull you into endless cycles of complaint. Everyone has problems. What separates strong people from the rest isn't the absence of difficulty, it's how they carry it. Quiet endurance builds character. Loud struggle often builds dependency. So the next time life tests you, pause before you speak. Ask yourself whether sharing will make you stronger or simply more comfortable. Choose strength. Carry the weight, learn the lesson, and when you rise above it, you'll do so with confidence that was earned, not borrowed. Lesson 5. Practice silence when you feel the urge to justify yourself. There's a powerful moment in every person's growth when they realize they don't have to explain everything. That moment doesn't come easily. It comes when you're questioned, misunderstood, or challenged. And every instinct in you wants to defend your choices. Learning to stay quiet in those moments is not weakness, it's discipline. The urge to justify yourself usually comes from insecurity. When you feel the need to explain, what you're really asking for is acceptance. But acceptance doesn't create strength. Self-respect does. And self-respect grows when you trust your own decisions enough to stand by them, without needing approval. Silence gives you control. When you speak too quickly, emotion takes over. Words become reactions instead of responses. Silence creates space. And in that space, you regain balance, think clearly, and choose your next move instead of being pulled into unnecessary conflict. People who constantly explain themselves invite endless debate. One explanation leads to another, and soon you're trapped defending your life to people who will never be satisfied. They're not looking for clarity. They're looking for reassurance that your path is safe and familiar. Growth rarely is. Practicing silence also reveals a lot. When you stop justifying yourself, you quickly notice who respects you and who loses interest. Some people only engage when they can question or criticize. Silence removes their power over you. It draws a boundary without confrontation. This doesn't mean becoming cold or distant, it means becoming deliberate. You speak when your words add value, not when they're demanded. You learn that not every opinion deserves a response and not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Silence sharpens confidence. Each time you resist the urge to explain, you strengthen your inner authority. You prove to yourself that you can hold your ground. Over time, that confidence becomes visible. Others sense it. Questions fade. Pressure eases. There will be moments when silence feels deeply uncomfortable. You may worry about being misjudged. Accept that discomfort. It's part of growth. Being misunderstood temporarily is far better than being controlled permanently. People who are secure in their direction don't rush to defend it. They keep moving. They let time and results clarify what words cannot. So the next time you feel the urge to justify yourself, pause, breathe, and say less. Let your actions do the talking. Silence, when practiced with intention, becomes one of the most powerful tools you'll ever develop. Lesson 6. Work in private before you ask for recognition. Recognition feels good, but it's a poor foundation for growth. When you seek praise too early, you build your motivation on something unstable. Applause comes and goes. Discipline must stay. Real progress begins when you're willing to work without being seen, without being acknowledged, and without being encouraged. Private work develops seriousness. When no one is watching, you find out whether your commitment is real. Are you showing up because you believe in the work or because you want approval? The answer to that question shapes your future. Those who rely on recognition often slow down when attention fades. Those who rely on discipline keep going. Early praise can actually be dangerous. It creates a sense of arrival before the journey has truly begun. You start protecting your image instead of improving your skill. You avoid mistakes because mistakes look bad, but mistakes are essential to learning. Growth needs room to fail quietly. Working in private removes that pressure. You're free to experiment, adjust, and struggle without explanation. You can be honest about where you actually are instead of pretending to be further ahead. That honesty accelerates real improvement. Many people announce progress too soon. They share small wins and chase ongoing validation. Over time, the work becomes secondary to the reaction. That path leads to shallow success and fragile confidence. Those who build something lasting usually go quiet for a while. They reduce the noise, simplify their lives, and focus on daily effort. When they re-emerge, they bring substance, not just stories. Their presence carries weight because it's backed by real work. This doesn't mean recognition is bad, it means recognition must be earned. When it arrives naturally, it strengthens confidence rather than replacing it. Recognition should confirm your progress, not create it. Learn to enjoy the quiet phase. This is where habits are formed and character is tested. This is where you develop patience, resilience, and attention to detail. No applause can teach you these things. Only effort can.
But if he returns each day to chaos, disrepair, and defeat, a man becomes what he repeatedly sees and hears. The subconscious does not debate. It accepts instruction. If it absorbs disorder and scarcity, it assumes that is reality. But if it absorbs structure, discipline, clarity, and strength, it treats abundance as natural and moves toward it. Your environment must align with your aim. A focused man lives in a space that reflects readiness, direction, and control. His room speaks before he does. Words are not harmless sound. They are commands to the subconscious mind. What you speak, you program. Speak wealth, and opportunity follows. Speak lack, and failure is reinforced. This is law. Guard your speech, especially in the morning. Say only what builds progress, growth, and increase. One careless phrase can weaken a powerful goal, because the mind does not separate humor from truth, only tone and repetition. Say this aloud. I speak prosperity into existence. I do not rehearse failure. My words create my future. There is no neutral language. Every sentence either constructs or destroys. Until midday, allow no complaint to pass your lips, not about money, people, or yourself. The subconscious is most receptive early, and your voice is its guide. Your body speaks as loudly as your mouth. Posture, movement, and presence all instruct the mind. Stand tall. Walk with certainty. Carry yourself as the man you are becoming, not the man you once were. Decision is the beginning of wealth. Indecision is drift, and drift leads to poverty. Each morning, decide clearly what you will accomplish, earn, and advance. Say it, write it, act on it. Thought creates belief. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior produces results. Repeat the principles daily. Repetition builds identity, and identity attracts outcomes. You are not shaped by what you know once, but by what you reinforce every day. Do not begin your morning in silence. Instruct yourself before the world does. Speak direction. Speak purpose. Speak certainty. Your voice is a tool of creation. Use it only in the direction of wealth.
So be honest with yourself. Are your daily actions designed to get noticed or to get better? If the answer is attention, adjust. Choose depth over display. Choose discipline over distraction. Life rewards those who invest in progress, not popularity. Let attention come as a byproduct, not a goal. That's how lasting growth is made. Lesson 8. Stay consistent, even when no one is watching. Consistency is the quiet force that shapes character. It doesn't announce itself and it rarely receives applause. Yet over time it separates those who truly grow from those who only talk about growing. When no one is watching, when no one is praising, when no one is reminding you, that's when consistency matters most. Many people can perform when there's an audience. They show discipline when eyes are on them. But real progress is built in ordinary moments, early mornings, long afternoons, and tired evenings when no one knows what you're doing. These are the moments that reveal who you truly are. Staying consistent without recognition requires an inner decision. You must decide that your standards don't depend on external reward. You show up because of who you're becoming, not because someone might notice. That mindset creates reliability, and reliability builds confidence. Inconsistency usually comes from emotion. You act when you feel motivated and stop when you don't. But consistency is guided by commitment. Commitment doesn't ask how you feel, it asks what needs to be done. That difference changes everything. When you stay consistent, small actions begin to compound. Progress may feel slow at first, but it's steady. Over time, what once required real effort becomes habit. What once felt hard becomes normal. This is how ordinary people achieve uncommon results. Consistency also builds trust with yourself. Each time you keep a private promise, you strengthen your self-respect. You become someone who follows through. That identity is powerful. It affects how you face challenges and how you respond under pressure. There will be days when effort feels pointless, when improvement isn't visible, when doubt whispers that no one cares. Those days aren't obstacles, they're tests. They're asking whether you're committed to the process or just attached to recognition. No one sees the roots of a tree, yet those roots support everything above ground. Consistency is the root system of success. It grows quietly underground, unnoticed, until the strength it builds becomes undeniable. Don't wait to be seen. Don't wait to be encouraged. Keep going. Do the work again and again. Let repetition shape your character and sharpen your skill. One day people will notice your progress and wonder how it happened. They won't see the quiet days, the unseen effort, or the disciplined routine, but you will know, and that knowledge will be your strength. Lesson 9. Let results answer the questions. You don't need to explain. There comes a point where explanation becomes unnecessary, not because people suddenly understand you, but because results make understanding optional. Words invite debate. Results end it. Many people spend years defending their choices, arguing, justifying, explaining why they're doing what they're doing. This keeps them busy, but not effective. The need to explain usually comes from a lack of evidence. When the evidence arrives, silence becomes natural. Results speak in a language everyone understands. They don't need tone, persuasion, or emotion. They simply exist. And when they exist consistently, opinions go quiet. Doubt fades. Respect grows, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Trying to explain your vision to people who haven't seen any progress yet is exhausting. They question because they can't see anything solid yet. Instead of fighting that, build something real. Let your effort accumulate. When results appear, conversations change, without you saying a single word. There is freedom in letting results speak. You stop rehearsing answers in your head. You stop anticipating criticism. Your focus returns to the work where it belongs. Peace follows progress. Results also protect your energy. Explaining drains it. Building strengthens it. Every hour spent improving a skill, building a habit, or sharpening your discipline adds weight to your presence. Over time, people sense it. They stop questioning and start observing. This doesn't mean results come quickly. They come honestly, through repetition, patience, and correction. But once they're there, they stay. Words fade. Outcomes remain. You don't owe anyone explanations for your discipline. You owe yourself consistency. When your life improves, when your habits change, when your work speaks, explanations become irrelevant. Stop preparing speeches about your future. Prepare routines. Stop rehearsing defenses. Build evidence. Let your actions create clarity. And when results finally speak, they do so calmly and confidently. They don't argue. They don't chase approval. They simply stand. And when that happens, you'll notice something important. The same people who once questioned you will no longer need explanations. Your life will have already given them the answer. Lesson 10. Build enough self-respect that you no longer need approval. Approval is tempting because it feels like confirmation. When others support or praise you, it can feel like proof you're on the right path. But approval is unreliable. It changes with mood, trends, and convenience. Self-respect, on the other hand, is steady. It doesn't depend on who is watching or what they think. When you rely on approval, you hand others influence over your direction. Their opinions begin to shape your decisions. You hesitate when they hesitate. You move forward only when they agree. Slowly, your life becomes a reflection of what feels acceptable to others rather than what feels true to you. That's not strength. That's permission seeking. Self-respect is built through discipline, consistency, and integrity. Each time you do what you said you would, even when it's hard, you reinforce trust within yourself. That trust becomes confidence, and confidence removes the need for validation. People who lack self-respect often talk the most. They explain, defend, and announce because they're uncertain. Those who respect themselves move differently. They speak with intention. They act with calm. They don't rush to be understood. Building self-respect requires honesty. You must stop pretending and start evaluating yourself clearly. Are your actions aligned with your values? Are your habits moving you forward? Are you facing discomfort or avoiding it? These questions matter far more than any compliment. As self-respect increases, something interesting happens. Criticism loses its sting. Praise loses its control. You become steady. You can listen without being shaken and act without being rushed. That steadiness is rare, and it commands quiet respect. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or shutting people out. It means feedback no longer defines you. You weigh it carefully and decide what actually serves your growth. Approval becomes optional, not essential. Reaching this level takes time. It requires patience, effort, and a willingness to be misunderstood. But the reward is freedom. Freedom from seeking permission, freedom from performing, freedom from needing constant reassurance. Honor your routines. Raise your standards. Keep your word to yourself. Over time, approval will matter less, and confidence will matter more. When you respect yourself deeply, you no longer need to convince anyone. Your presence will speak for you. Final thoughts. Your life is not a public discussion. It is a private responsibility. Everything covered here leads to one simple truth. Growth happens quietly before it ever becomes visible. The strongest foundations are not built under observation. They are built through discipline, restraint, and consistent effort. You were never meant to explain every move you make. You were meant to make moves that eventually explain themselves. When you stop sharing your story with everyone, your energy returns. Your focus sharpens. You stop performing and start progressing. Silence teaches patience. Privacy builds strength. Consistency creates confidence. These qualities don't come from talking. They come from doing, from showing up again and again, especially when it feels unnoticed. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your struggles, or your plans. Some will misunderstand you. Let them. Some will doubt you. Let them. Your responsibility is not to convince, defend, or explain. Your responsibility is to grow. When you learn to move without announcing, you become powerful in the best way, calm, focused, and unshakable. You stop chasing approval and start building self-respect. You stop reacting and start deciding. That shift changes everything. In time, results will arrive, quietly at first, then clearly. And when they do, the same people who once questioned you will stop asking. Not because you argued better, but because your life answered for them. This is not about hiding. It is about timing, knowing when to speak and when to work, when to listen and when to endure. Speak too early, and you weaken your resolve. Work patiently, and your resolve becomes unbreakable. From this point forward, choose discipline over disclosure. Choose action over explanation. Choose consistency over attention. Build your life with intention and let your progress speak when the time is right. You don't need to tell your story to everyone. You just need to live it well.